everybody. Welcome to the Multicoin Summit 2021. Thank you all for being here. So I want to thank a few people that helped put this all together. First, I want to thank all of our limited partners in the room. Thank you for making everything possible and for your support, especially to those of you who invested early on. We really appreciate you. I'd also like to thank all of our founders and builders in the room. You are the most important people in this ecosystem. You make everything possible, and we couldn't do any of it without you. So thank you, especially. And also, thank you to all of our ecosystem partners. Thank you to all the service providers who helped put this event together. Thank you to our team, our thought partners, and everyone in the industry who chose to join us here today. We appreciate you and all of our relationships. While 2021 was a difficult year for the world, it was, hands down, our best year yet. We founded the firm in 2017, and this year marks our 4th year in business. And it was our biggest growth year by far. We expanded the firm in basically every dimension. Look, our performance was mainly due to patient asset selection and allocation during the bear market, which really set us up for exponential performance this year. But we have to remember that this is an extraordinary moment in time, one that we're very proud of and grateful for, but it's also important to sober up and reflect on the realities of markets. Markets don't go straight up forever. There will be pullbacks, there will be another bear market, and we have to be cognizant of that. However, we know ourselves, and we know that we're far better at asset selection than we are at reading charts or tea leaves. So we really don't try to trade beta. We are not trying to time markets. We focus on asset selection. We focus on thinking about theses and forming concentrated long-term positions to create the opportunity for asymmetric returns like what you see here. Behind our brand and our performance, we have an amazing group of people. We now have 15 full-time people, which is about double the size that we were last year. This year, we welcomed 4 new partners to the general partnership: Brian Smith, Matt Shapiro, Mabel Zhang, and John Robert Reed. We announced this earlier, but please give them a hand because it's the first time we've done it together. Chances are, if you're in this room, you've interacted with them, at least a few of them, and we couldn't do any of what we do without them. We also substantially grew our finance and operations teams with notable additions of Brian Petrazak, Kyle Smith, Kathy Wu, and Catherine Kaplan. As evidenced by this room, we have a lot more partners now, and it takes a team to keep the trains running on time. And very importantly, we also hired Greg Exenthalis as our General Counsel and Chief Compliance Officer. He joins us from Chapman & Cutler and is helping us level up our regulatory engagement efforts and compliance efforts. So thank you, Greg. If you see any of them running around, please take some time and say hello. All right, so let's talk a little bit about markets. 2 major theses driving performance have been open finance, or DeFi, and Web3. Side note, we call it open finance instead of DeFi because we think decentralization is not the goal in and of itself. It's a means to an end, and the end is really credible neutrality and open access. These theses have just started playing out, and we expect to watch them compound at really high rates of growth for at least a decade. And we're positioning ourselves to take advantage of these trends. There are a few key underlying trends that are driving all this growth. First, we have this explosive growth in stablecoin supply. We're up to $80 billion of stablecoins issued. Every time I have to send a wire, I feel like I went back to the 1900s. I mean, limited operating hours, high fees, archaic security practices, incredibly clunky user experience. And I think that's all going to lead to the downfall of wires as the way to send payments, and stablecoins are going to take over. We've also seen a tremendous amount of growth in the total value locked in open finance protocols and the total trading volume and activity in these protocols. This is driven by the advent of liquidity mining, and that's where these protocols are able to basically purchase liquidity with their tokens. This has proven to be an incredibly effective bootstrapping mechanism and driven the incredible growth, which has captured the attention of basically everyone in the financial services industry. On the Web3 side, the first big product to really achieve product market fit for Web3 has been NFTs. We've seen tremendous growth in the total number of users who have crypto wallets, and that has really been driven by NFTs. Whether it's something like NBA Top Shots, or CryptoPunks, or Bored Apes, or these celebrity-issued NFTs by musicians and artists alike, NFTs are really bringing blockchain and crypto wallets to the mainstream. And we'll talk about why that's important in just a sec. We are also seeing fundamental market changes in 2021. The biggest structural change is what we call the Bitcoin decoupling. And it's ushering in a new crypto market regime. Historically, most crypto assets have had a significant percentage of their trading volume denominated against Bitcoin. Market makers had to hold large inventories of Bitcoin to operate their business, and this was a significant part of the demand to buy Bitcoin and a significant part of the liquidity of Bitcoin. However, we've seen stablecoins have really taken over and become the dominant quote currency for crypto spot trading. We've also seen a major decrease in the use of Bitcoin as collateral for derivatives trading. It used to be, if you see that yellow line there, that's BitMEX. BitMEX used to be the dominant crypto exchange platform for derivatives, and it only supported Bitcoin collateral. Now, BitMEX has lost most of its market share to exchanges like FTX, Binance, and CME, whose derivatives are mostly stablecoin and fiat collateralized. The decreased relevance of Bitcoin is a major change in crypto market regime. It has led to a decreased correlation between crypto assets and a wider dispersion of returns. And we expect this trend to continue as Bitcoin continues to lose relevance. So where are we now? We think we are at crypto's iPhone moment. So let's go back in time for a second. Think back to the early 2000s. The vision for smartphones was really clear. People wanted to have a computer in their pocket that could do everything their desktop at home could do. There were a significant number of really well-funded companies building out smartphone platforms, whether that was BlackBerry, Windows Phone, Palm OS, Nokia Symbian, and many others. But the tech simply was not there to support mainstream user adoption. It just didn't work. But then the iPhone changed everything and completely reshaped society. Think about how different your life is now versus pre-iPhone. It's changed everything. And the tech was finally ready with the iPhone for developers to build apps that mainstream users wanted. And the platform was finally ready for mainstream users to use smartphones. And then what did we see happen? We saw two really important things. We saw market share consolidate amongst the top two players, and we saw incredible rates of growth compounding for over a decade. So let's bring this back to crypto. People have been trying to create smart contract platforms for a long time. The vision is really clear. We know what we can do with this technology, but the reality is the tech simply was not ready yet. Every time I send an Ethereum transaction, I hear the dial-up sound playing in my head. It takes 15 seconds to connect. I can hear my mom yelling at me, "Get off the internet, I need to use a phone." And so now the tech is ready, and we believe that Solana is crypto's iPhone moment. And just like the iPhone created the design space for massive mobile-first businesses, Instagram, Snapchat, Uber, WhatsApp, and many more, we believe that Solana will create the design space for entrepreneurs to innovate in crypto and move up the stack to more user-facing, real-world applications. So we couldn't be more excited for the next decade. All right. With that, allow me to introduce you to the featured speakers and panels that we've assembled for you today. In many ways, they represent a lot of the areas that we're most excited about as we look at the year ahead. As a reminder, you'll be able to ask questions at the end of these panels and discussions, so just look around for the mic in the room. So first up is my partner and co-founder, Kyle, who's going to come up and talk to you about the state of the Solana ecosystem and our latest ideas around composability, which we think is one of the most important attributes of a smart contract platform. We're just starting to see an entirely new class of protocols and applications emerge, and it's one of the most interesting trends that we're watching very closely. After Kyle's presentation, my partner Matt will welcome Ronil Rumberg, the co-founder of Audius, to the stage to discuss the latest ideas and developments in the creator economy. Ronil's at the forefront of creator monetization in Web3, and creators are really excited about crypto because it allows them to connect directly with their fans and design new engagement models and monetize in new ways without middlemen. And I think crypto has a chance to completely reshape how creators monetize. Next, we'll have Kyle coming back on stage for a fireside chat with Matthew Ball. Matthew Ball is one of the main thought leaders about the metaverse, and he's credited with pioneering many of the new ideas in the space. Mark Zuckerberg even called out Matthew Ball's essay series as a must-read as he renamed Facebook to Meta. So this conversation will serve as a great primer for those of you who've been wondering, like, what is the metaverse? What is the metaverse going to enable? And it'll be a deep dive into the issues and opportunities that we are most excited about. After that, we'll have our partner Mabel bring Harry Zhang, the co-founder and project lead of Project Galaxy. He's going to introduce you to the idea of utility NFTs and on-chain credentialing. I want to note that while Mabel has been with us for a while, this is her first Multicoin summit, so please do make sure and say hello. She came a long way to be here with us. Then after lunch, later this afternoon, we have Packy McCormick, the founder of Not Boring, which is a fantastic newsletter, among many other things, join Kyle and I to interview us about our 2022 outlook. This conversation will give you a better sense of how Kyle and I run the firm and think about thesis formation and what we're looking forward to over the next year. Then after that, I'll be back on stage, joined by Amir Halim, co-founder and CEO of Helium Inc., and Ariel Seidman, the founder and CEO of HiveMapper. Both these companies and crypto projects have a lot in common, despite the fact that they're serving very different markets and are technically very different. And we'll explore the ability to use crypto incentives to drive real-world infrastructure later this afternoon, which we're very, very excited about. And last, but certainly not least, we're honored to have Brendan Eich, the creator of JavaScript and the CEO and founder of Brave, the browser that I use every day, mobile and desktop, and I would encourage all of you to download and use if you don't use it already. And he's going to join us about a conversation about bringing crypto to the masses. Brave is one of the most successful crypto applications out there when you look at number of users, and it's used by millions, maybe even tens of millions of people around the world. Brendan recently spoke at the Solana conference in Lisbon about some exciting upcoming news, and we'll be diving into that later. And with that, I'd like to welcome Kyle to the stage to talk to us about composability. Thank you, everybody.